There's really no doubt that Portland power forward Carmelo Anthony is an incredible basketball player, but the man has been making headlines over the last few months for all the wrong reasons. From hitting back at a heckler in February to receiving a poor reception from his previous Denver fan base, his name has dominated the news cycle. Now that rumors are circulating regarding his eventual retirement, we feel like we need to investigate further. So is there any truth to the rumors that Carmelo Anthony will be retiring at the end of this season? And if so, will he be ending things with a bang by going back to Denver? Before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with the notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. The heckling scenario summed up. First things first, it's important to note that Carmelo is currently 37 years old, having been born in Brooklyn, New York on May 29, 1984. Despite his advanced age, he is currently playing as the starting power forward of the Portland Trailblazers, but this wasn't always the case. In fact, he was out of the National Basketball Association for a full year after being picked up by Portland, which solidly brought him out of retirement. This was around 2 seasons ago, though, and Carmelo appears to be doing quite well for himself when it comes to his performance on the court. The man has a bit of a complex about his age, despite what he has done for the Trailblazers. This is simply due to the fact that the world of basketball keeps on asking the question of whether he should retire, which is honestly a question that only a player should be able to answer. Regardless of whether their performance has dropped or not, if a team is willing to have that player's name attached to them, then why not have that player continue living out his dream? But it would appear as if a heckler at the Blazers game against New Orleans in February of this year didn't quite agree with this sentiment. Around the third quarter of the match between the Trailblazers and Pelicans, a fan from the opposing side could be heard shouting, "Carmelo, you need to retire!" And rather than letting bygones be bygones like a professional of his caliber should, Anthony fired back at the fan by looking directly at him and retorting with a solid, "Shut up!" Since this footage was actually included in the broadcast of the game, it didn't take long for this moment to become viral, once more causing a pain in Carmelo's side by having many ask the question of whether he should retire. As we mentioned earlier, this wouldn't be the first time that Anthony has retired, with a small stint before being picked up by the Trailblazers serving as a mini retirement of sorts. Many basketball statisticians and experts alike have referred to this small break as the point of no return, where Anthony clearly became used to the comfortable life that comes after an extensive career on the court. This could, after all, be the only reason for his retort. A great many NBA players are heckled on a weekly basis, so why else would Carmelo have been unable to take what has previously been given to him in the past? Well, while we think comfort had something to do with it, we believe that this was a long time coming. Poke a bear for long enough and that bear is going to claw your face off, which is essentially what happened on that fateful day in February. But what exactly does Carmelo think of the plan to retire? Carmelo Anthony and his plans to retire. Funnily enough, Carmelo actually spoke about retirement during his first season with the Trailblazers, stating that his situation at the moment had actually caused him to contemplate the move for real. There's no question that after such a long and lucrative career, Carmelo has had quite a bit of difficulty and controversy surrounding him while on the court. He found himself being picked up by the Houston Rockets, for whom he played just 10 games in total. This small stint was then followed by him being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who waived him a short while later. He then spent that lonesome year getting absolutely no calls from any NBA teams, causing him to consider retirement once and for all. He even called his agent, advising that he would announce his retirement if no one called within a few months. Luckily for him, though, his agent refused to allow him to announce things, which essentially led to the Trailblazers calling his name and saving him from becoming a washed-up legend. Like the Vikings of old, no basketball player wants to retire when already out of action. NBA players want to have an incredible season on the court, only then announcing their retirement to the dismay of fans. Unfortunately for Carmelo Anthony, though, it looks like this will never be the case considering just how many fans are hounding him on the topic. But should the legendary player be retiring soon? Well, his current statistics are reflected as an average of 13.3 points and 3.5 rebounds per game, shooting at around 39.6% from the field. So to really establish whether his time is truly past, let's take a look at his history on the court. The career of Carmelo Anthony. For those of you who don't know, Carmelo was actually born in the Red Hook housing projects of Brooklyn, New York, so it shouldn't be a surprise to hear that he had a pretty difficult time making it through his early childhood. Luckily for him, though, he had a pretty incredible set of skills that transferred over to the basketball court, resulting in him becoming the star player of both his high school and college teams. After making a name for himself and winning a few championships along the way, Carmelo found himself being drafted by the Denver Nuggets in the 2003 NBA Draft. Keep in mind that he was selected behind only LeBron James, who was the first pick overall, and Darko Milicic, who was the second pick overall. This resulted in him making his season debut for the Nuggets in October of that year, beating out the San Antonio Spurs by just 8 points. But it didn't take long for him to improve his game. Just a few games later, and he had become one of the youngest NBA players to ever score 30 points or more in a game. Since this was also the the fewest games a Nuggets rookie had ever taken to score this many points, the Denver fans fell in love with Carmelo pretty quickly. This wasn't the last record that he set for the Nuggets, though, also taking on the title of most points ever scored by a rookie. During this breakout season, he averaged around 21 points per game, resulting in him becoming the runner-up for NBA Rookie of the Year. Slowly but surely, the Denver Nuggets started to improve as a team with Carmelo at the helm, and honestly, the same could be said for Anthony's own game, which had reached an average of 26.5 points per game, 2.7 assists, 4.9 rebounds, and 1.1 steals. The man was a freaking machine, but got a little too big for his britches as a result. During the 2010-2011 season, rumors started to circulate that Anthony had refused to extend his contract with the Nuggets and had actually requested a trade to another team. And wouldn't you know it, Carmelo was then traded to the New York Knicks, where he played for around 6 seasons in total. His statistics remained very much on par with what we have already discussed, but the Denver fans were not very impressed by him leaving their team in the dust. Retirement is imminent. By taking a quick look at his previous statistics on the court, there's really no doubt that Carmelo's advanced age has been detrimental to his performance for the Trailblazers. In fact, on average, he scores over 10 points less per game. And while this isn't exactly terrible, his heydays on the court are very much dead and gone. Although he will always be a legend of the game, he is slowly but surely tarnishing this name of his by overstaying his welcome. The Trailblazers seem to be absolutely fine with his performance, and since he doesn't seem to be too worried about retirement right now, we don't think he will be following our advice anytime soon. But when does he eventually decide to retire? Will he do so with the Trailblazers? Or would he be able to go back to his old team and retire in Denver as he has always wanted to do? Prospects of a Denver retirement. Well, honestly speaking, the prospects of Carmelo Anthony retiring in Denver are not actually that great. As you saw in our quick summary of his time in the NBA, Carmelo was loved as a Denver Nuggets player, with many fans appreciating just how much time and effort he spent on getting the team up to scratch. But when he demanded to be traded to another team after a long and steady career under the banner of Denver, the fans found that they just couldn't forgive him for this. And this isn't just a feeling that we have, with the Denver fans being pretty vocal about their continued dislike of Carmelo. Look back to May of this year and you'll see what we mean. Carmelo was actually booed by Denver Nuggets fans in the first NBA game of the year between the Portland Trailblazers and Denver Nuggets, showing once and for all that they are not over his abandonment of their team. As it turns out, this didn't bother Carmelo though, who used the attention to his benefit by fueling a fire within himself. The icon went on to score 12 points in just 5 minutes, hitting his 4th straight triple early in the second quarter. No surprise that this performance of his resulted in the Trailblazers winning the game 123-109, shutting Nuggets fans up for good. When asked about the fan response, he stated that he has no idea why they hate him so much. After giving 7.5 years of his life to the team and never saying anything negative about them, he shouldn't be in the situation he currently is. And while this may be true, there's no doubt that Denver doesn't want him back. What do you think? Be sure to let us know in the comments section down below.